Hey everyone, this is Fabio and welcome to a new pickups video. Finally making one of these. Simply because I jumped through October without making one. Because I was waiting for a certain item and I haven't received it yet, by the way. I'm still waiting for it. I'm pretty pissed off because apparently both Amazon and Royal Mail are really lazy and really late with this delivery. I'm just hoping that this item is not lost because every time the closer you get to Christmas, every year at least one item get lost to me. I'm just hoping it's not that because it wasn't that cheap as well. So still hoping for the first half of December for that. But anyways, since I've jumped through, I didn't make any pickups video for October. I've decided, well, what the hell, let's do it one together for both October and November because why not? And also because in the meanwhile, I managed to gather quite a lot of movies and games, 6 movies and 6 games. So we got a lot to talk about. And like always, let's start with the movies. And recently, I was watching, finally, I managed to watch from beginning to end Twin Peaks. Fantastic series. Cannot wait for the new season coming out next year. Really, really excited about that. And because of that, I started to think, oh, I want to watch more by David Lynch because I watched some of his stuff, but a long time ago. Like with Twin Peaks, I watched an episode here and there. I saw some of his movies, but not all of them, not to completion. This is something like maybe I saw them on television, or a friend of mine had the movies. Oh, so I decided let's watch some of his movies. So I bought both Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet. I'm really curious and start a David Lynch marathon with both of these very famous and cool movies. Really looking forward to Blue Velvet. But I remember Mulholland Drive. I cannot wait to watch this again. And it's funny because after my David Lynch kick, I also had a sort of Asian movies kicks. So I bought 3 Asian movies, all Japanese, I think, but there's movies everywhere. The first one, since I'm a big, big fan of Akira Kurosawa, uh, I really wanted to watch Ikiru, and I watched this, by the way, a couple of days ago. This is a great, great movie, very touching, wonderful story, highly recommended. Um, it was something that was, I, now that I watched it, it was really missing from my Kurosawa collection, because this might actually be my favorite Kurosawa movie. Even though it's not a samurai movie, this is so good. It's such a joy to watch this movie. Then I went for a couple of strange ones because they were so cheap. I say, oh, why not? Let's try this. The first one is this thing, whatever it is, Versus, and it, for what I've read, I still haven't watched this. It might be the movie for tonight. Can't wait. Um, it's like a lot of action, a lot of blood, some sci-fi elements. I mean, it looks kind of cool. I really don't know what to say because I never heard of this movie. Because I don't mind Asian movies, but I'm not that much into. So I have a lot of things to learn and to discover. And like I never heard of this Ryuhei Kitamura. Maybe it's a really really famous director. I don't know, but it looks such a weird movie, like crazy action, crazy plot, to say for what I read. But I cannot wait to see Versus. And finally, last movie, trying to get a bit faster, so because since I have a lot, the final Asian movie actually is Casshern. And the thing with this movie, and I love this, you can see like this, and then you have to read like this. It's really weird. It's like special edition, whatever. The thing with Casshern, I think that that was an anime, and this movie is based on this anime from the early '80s, I think, because it sounded familiar when I looked this on Amazon. I said, "Oh, I remember there was an anime about this a character with the same name. Maybe it's a total different thing. I have no idea." But I think it's all about like a post-apocalyptic future. humans fight against machines, and like Kasern is a sort of human turned into a sort of robot that who fights for humans, something like that. I mean, and I love the comment from News of the World here, better than both Matrix sequels put together. I mean, interesting, interesting. So tonight probably will be one of between Kasern and Versus. I'm really curious about these two things. I have to be honest, because I have some Japanese, Korean, whatever, Asian action movies, and they are pretty crazy, but in an interesting and cool way. And also because I was watching like the Halloween videos by Aerodynamics. I'm a big fan of this channel, by the way. Check it out if you haven't. And he was talking about horror movies, and that was the what started my curiosity for more Asian movie, because he was talking about Asian horror movies. So I was looking for Asian horror, but then I was like diverted for more action stuff, because in a way I prefer action movies, but I don't mind some good horror. But then I remember that a year ago, or when was it? Some time ago, pretty recently, I saw a really cool horror movie. So I said, there it is, my Halloween movie. And I watch it on Halloween, and it's The Cabin in the Woods, of course. To me, this is a pretty famous movie. I don't need to talk too much about it, but to me, this is by far one of the best, if not the best, I might dare say, for the quantity of horror movies I see in a year, easily the best. New horror movie, like the among horror movies, this is to me by far the best. When was this? 2012, so in recent years, because it's very original in a way. I don't think there are many things like this. I mean, the idea of the story of the movie with this um, sort of game in a way going on. I don't want to tell too much because maybe you haven't watched this. Because if you haven't, I cannot recommend this enough. I mean, it's a horror movie with a lot of comedy as well, because you can see the touch of Joss Whedon. That is the thing that drove me to watch this movie when it was released on cinema, because it's written and produced by Joss Whedon, so you can see a lot of his touch. And when you see all the horror creatures and traps and whatever, you are amazed by what they have. I mean, it's such a great horror movie, highly recommended. And I watched this on Halloween; it was perfect. And we are done with the movies. There's some strange music out there, but we're done with the movies. We can move on to games. And we have some interesting, mainly PSP games, since I'm building up my collection. So 5 PSP games and 1 Game Boy Advance game. Let's start with the PSP, also because among these 6 movies, I already beaten 2 of them. The first one is, of course, Legend of Heroes 3, which is actually 5, Song of the Ocean. And I already beat this game. I made a video discussion, a very long one, by the way, video discussion. So if you need more info about this, check it out. Great game. Um, Third and final game in the Gaga trilogy by Falcom. This is the game that precedes Trace in the Sky, even though the story is not connected at all. But I already knew that. It's not that I was disappointed for that. My general idea is very good. I still prefer Tear of Vermilion, but just me. But really good game if you're looking for a nice traditional RPG for PSP. Then, since I played all the Legend of Heroes games on PSP one after the other, so the Gagav games, I mean, one after the other with Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch, Tear of Vermilion, and Song of the Ocean, I did this big RPG marathon, and that's okay. I love JRPGs, so that didn't bother me. But in a way, I wanted to change the pace and the rhythm a little and say, let's play something completely different before I dig into another RPG. And the solution was Medieval Resurrection. Already finished this one already. Pretty recent, made a video discussion. Check it out. It was, as I said, it was exactly what I needed. A lot of fun, mindless humor, because that's the strongest point of the game. It's the humor, action, hack and slash. A fantastic main character. One of the main, to me, qualities of this game is the main character of Daniel Fortescue. Really cool game. I've always liked the medieval series. Highly recommended. And now the games that I haven't played yet. The first one, I was really curious. I heard about this game, but not too much, so I don't really know what to expect. And that it's Gods Eater Burst. Um, I suppose it's like an action game, maybe it's some RPG elements. I haven't checked anything on YouTube or Wikipedia, but I'm really, really curious about it. Um, I heard something on podcasts mainly, and cannot wait to play this one. Really, really curious for Gods Eater Burst. And I'm really glad for the next item. I'm really, really liking it because I love this series. And it's Fate Extra in this gorgeous special edition by Ghostlight. I want to highlight the fact that Ghostlight is amazing. It's basically the European equivalent of Exit. So support Ghostlight, people. They're awesome because they do this gorgeous thing. So we have the big box, and just let me show you what's inside it. Well, of course, we got the game with Saber, Rin, and Archer. Got a small but really cool um, art book. It's pretty small, and a soundtrack. As I was saying, the art book it's really small. I mean, I think there's just 7 pages or something, but the art it's fantastic. I mean, let me show you my favorites. Where is it? There it is. I mean, look at how awesome this is. I mean, Saber in all her glory. Because if you are familiar with the Fate series, the anime series Fate Stay Night, Zero, and Unlimited Blade Works, this is Saber is basically the mascot of the series. This is a total different Saber, and I'm really excited because they are, with the exception of Archer so far, they are changing the servants, and really, really cool because of course the servants are the main reason to watch Fate. If you haven't watched Fate, do it because it's a fantastic series. It's really, I'm really, really loving it so far. But I'm really excited for this. I already tried like a couple of hours or something, and it's a really, really cool and original RPG. It has a sort of combination of different kinds of RPG. Like there is a turn-based, of course, because it's like first it's your turn, then the enemies. There is a lot of strategy involved, however, in battles because you have to choose what you want to do that during your turn. If you want to attack, you want to defend, you want to break the enemy guard because you don't know what the enemy is going to do. So there's also a lot of action involved. It's a really original game, I think, and so far, technically I'm playing this on the PSP, but the next game is actually taking basically all my gaming time. Um, so far, I mean, for what I saw, this is it's so promising to me, because of course, like all anime-based games, its target are mainly the fans of the series. So since I love the Fate series, I really wanted this, and also an interesting thing about Fate is that you don't know the real identity of the servants. I mean, you know them because of their class. There's Saber, there's Archer, Rider, Caster, all of those. And the coolest thing is to discover progressively who they are, and not on purpose, but I kind of knew who Saber is, and when I discovered that, oh my God, I have to buy it, and she's probably going to get to be my favorite Saber, because the original one, the blue Saber, it's very cool, but this is better to me. So really glad. Oh, a big ring here. Super happy for this gorgeous special edition of Fate Extra, and so far I really think that this should have an anime because it's really promising story, but we'll see. So Fate Extra Thank you, Ghostlight, for the amazing special box. The next game is actually for the Game Boy Advance, and keeping the last PSP game, the next PSP game for last, because I think it's the real main event of my pickups. You'll see why. The next one, it's the game that I actually playing, and it's taking most of my time, and it will be my next game discussion. I don't know when, honestly, because it's longer than I expected, and it was out of nowhere because there is this certain series that it's very famous, as you will see, but I never played it for no reason at all. I just recently I decided let's try it. Tales of Fantasia. So I'm getting into the Tales of series. Finally, you might say, yes, because Tales is one of the biggest JRPG series from Japan, together with Final Fantasy. And technically Dragon Quest, there is all the issue with Dragon Quest being kinda relegated to a secondary spot, and the main RPGs are Final Fantasy, like always, and Tales of, that it's getting more spotlight now, since Square Enix is basically forgetting about Dragon Quest. So I decided, well, let's try a Tales of game, why not? Where should I start? I have one on the PSP, Tales of Eternia, but I haven't touched it yet. And I wanted to play that after I finished Medieval, because I said, let's get into another RPG. But then, I don't know why, I said, let's start with the beginning. What is the first game of the Tales of series? If it's available to the West, naturally. And the first one is actually Tales of Fantasia on the Game Boy Advance. And so far, I'm really liking it. The big thing, of course, compared to a more traditional game like Dragon Quest, for example, it's the combat system, but I will get more into details during my game discussion, but I don't know when it's going to happen because I'm still in the past. I don't know how far into it, but I'm still in the past. So well, it looks like a pretty, but I'm like 15 hours, so not like 60 hours still in the past. Because there is time travel in this game, and that is always a really cool feature. I love time travel in video games. So really hoping to get into the Tales series. As I say, I don't know why I ignored it for as long as I did, but really cool to be part of the club now with the Tales of. And we are at the final item. I don't know when, if I'm going to play this, because um, this is a Japanese game, and it's such a shame slash pity that this game wasn't translated, and it brings all the questions, all the matter of um, localizations and translation of RPGs. The game is none other than Grand Knight History. Um, by Vanillaware, I suppose. I mean, the graphic looks like that, but here it says, I don't know, Marvelous Entertaining, Crime World. There's all sort of. I think it's Vanillaware. I might be wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. I didn't check, but I bought it because I thought it's an RPG by Vanillaware, and technically the PSP is region free, so I can try it. And it's still rapid, but I'm going to unwrap it. I don't care about that because I want to try it. It's not like a rare game or any means. It's simply an imported one from Japan, and I really wanted because it was incredibly cheap. I paid, I think, £7, including the expedition, for this. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it, absolutely, because I freaking love Vanillaware. It's one of my favorite niche companies in a way. Like, I haven't played Dragon's Crown by Muramasa, for example. It's one of my favorite games on the Wii, and I'm so happy that they did a remaster edition or whatever on the Vita. That was excellent. And knowing that there was an RPG made by them but not translated and not in the West was like, oh, that sucks. But also I didn't know all the thing behind it because apparently Xseed was working on the translation and they basically did it, but then they didn't have enough funds or something in order to publish it in the, at least in the States. I don't know, in Europe it's, and not, that's another story, but the thing is that we were so close, probably, to Grand Night History, but so far at the same time, I mean, that's the thing. As I said, it opens all the discussions on the translation and the localization of these RPGs from Japan. I mean, probably, and for sure, we have missed so many gems, masterpieces from all systems, like starting from the PSP or the DS, PS Vita now, 3DS, the Wii. I think that we have the Operation Rainfall games, but there are so many others, I'm sure, that we didn't have. And let's hope that RPGs continue their sort of comeback, because I made an entire video on how the recent success of Bravely Default kind of made Square Enix, at least, rethinking their strategy on RPGs, and that's surprising because Square Enix is the company of RPGs together with others. But it's weird to say we have to rethink about RPGs if you are Square Enix. It's, what? But let's hope that thanks to that, we don't have another Grand Night History that it's almost here, it's almost done, but then it all vanished because, I don't know, the company didn't have enough funds, there was no enough interest. I'm very happy to have this. I don't know, as I say, when I'm going to play, if I'm going to play, because of course, I don't know a word of Japanese. So an entire RPG in Japanese, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to try it, at least. At least try it. Maybe you should play this with a walkthrough, but we'll see. I'm really glad to have it. It's a nice piece of my collection. I love Vanillaware so much, as I was telling you, with all these really cool companies. And just have a first-hand impression of what, like, Japanese RPGs we are missing, or we missed in this case, because PSP is gone now, but really glad I've had this, and cannot wait at least to try it. At least to try it. And playing this thoroughly and completely, that's a total different thing. But there are so many others. Just looking on the Vita, for example, RPGs that we don't have and available on Japan for next to nothing. That's the thing that also makes me mad. These games are cheap in Japan, especially, like, I don't know, I can go on for, like, I saw the Far Eastern Eden games. There is a complete collection on PSP, and it's not very expensive. And there are like 3 games for, what was it? The last time I checked was like £15. It's okay. I mean, it's not for free, but it's not as expensive. If you want, probably if you want to buy it on uh, the TurboGrafx, would probably be more expensive. But there are so many of these really cool RPGs that we didn't have. And that's it. These were my pickups for October and November. Um, there is one item still missing. I'm really pissed off because of that. And let's just hope, as I said, that it's not lost. That's my only hope. And like always, guys, thanks for watching. I know it was quite a lot of stuff, but, well, 2 months managed to gather and accumulate a lot of good stuff. I'm very happy for this. I already played some of the game and watched some of the movies, so thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.